Casey Neistat is not too happy about what has recently been said about him protecting David Dobrik. At least that's what one could assume, since he already seems nervous about what people would say about him putting out this David Dobrik documentary, as he said before that he didn't want it to seem like he was involved in any of the drama, but instead he's getting backlash for not having released it. And now Jeff Wittek is calling out Casey for what he said on a podcast, and he is also addressing some of the Vlog Squad members, revealing some of what he's done for them in the past, so we are going to spill on all that's been said. I recently talked about how Casey Neistat went on a podcast where he was asked about the David Dobrik documentary that he made. It premiered at the film festival South by Southwest back in 2022, and then nothing ever happened with it. Casey has now admitted that he's protecting David by not releasing it to the public, and he hasn't been able to sell the documentary to a streamer, and he also doesn't want to put it out on his YouTube channel. So it just feels like nobody will ever really get to see it unless they got the chance at South by Southwest, as he does not want to be the one responsible for doing this to David.
And I finished it because I can't not finish something. I think it's important to finish it. And we premiered it at South by Southwest Film Festival, and there was some talk of selling it to a proper distributor, but I didn't have a lot of enthusiasm for it. And I still don't know why I don't put it out there. I think it's because maybe some part of me, as much as I'm ashamed to admit it, is because I still very deeply love and care for David. And maybe it's about protecting him from himself.
Even though whether he put it on a YouTube channel or HBO bought it, it would still say that it was made by him, so I really don't understand the logic here. Jeff Wittek has obviously seen what Casey has had to say recently and wanted to call him out, posting an episode of Jeff FM this week titled F Casey Neistat, Jeff Responds. Jeff talked about how Casey showing him the documentary was literally the reason why he decided to sue David, because he saw him for who he really was and how he talked about him when he wasn't around. So he's grateful that Casey showed him, but he can't seem to understand Casey gatekeeping the documentary from the public right now.
I saw it. Casey FaceTimed me, and that's why I sued David, because I saw what David said about me and how he really felt. And I was like, no way. Like, my heart dropped. I was like, like, all this time, I thought I was like best friends with this kid.
Yeah.
And this is how he talks about me behind my back.
Yeah.
It's not even behind my back. It's in a documentary. If I hadn't seen that clip, I would have never got to sue.
Yeah.
So thank you, Casey, for doing that. But also, kind of you, Casey, right now, because he said that he's not releasing his documentary, that you sat down with a girl that was assaulted and spoke to you about her most traumatic moment of her life for days, weeks, and you're going to bury the story to protect this kid that you openly admitted.
In the podcast recently, Casey was still praising David, even though he didn't agree with all of David's actions, but he was still complimenting him as one of the greatest comedians to come from YouTube.
To this day, notwithstanding the problematic stuff, the problematic content that he made, I think he is the greatest comedian that YouTube has ever had. David is just the comedic timing, everything about his videos are unique, and to this day, nothing's even come close to replicating them.
And hearing this is honestly just so embarrassing, because he's still out here protecting David, praising him, and David literally wants nothing to do with him. The documentary ruined their friendship because Casey chose to have journalistic integrity, which was amazing. He wanted to get the story right, he wanted to tell it truthfully, and David didn't like that, and Casey wasn't editing the documentary in his favor. But for Casey to still protect him, and they're not even on speaking terms, is just wild and something that people truly cannot understand from Casey. Like, he might as well have just not finished the documentary when everything was reported about David, and especially after Jeff's accident, because it's like Casey does some things that are good, like he told the story in a really good way where it wasn't biased. He helped Jeff by showing him what David was saying, but then there's this other side of Casey where he's still protecting David, and it's just so confusing, because obviously David is not going to be happy with Casey if this is like the whole reason why he's even getting sued right now. But it's like, Casey, like, what do you have to lose? Like, David is not in your life anymore. I don't understand this connection still. And Jeff was specifically calling out Casey for the fact that he sat down with the victim interviewed in the Insider article, and the fact that even after that, he's choosing to still protect and praise David.
And Casey sat for weeks interviewing her, and now he said that he thinks that David was the best comedian on YouTube in history. That was the funniest part of the interview right there, because David never did anything. He filmed everybody else.
Jeff went on to say that Jason or Jonah should get that kind of credit compared to David, since all he literally did was film. And I too was super surprised to hear Casey say this. I mean, I think David was good at editing. He had a strategy to make short YouTube videos that worked well for him. But a comedian? I don't know about that one.
Jason, maybe, if you wanted to say that. Yeah. He was the best in the videos. Yeah. Jonah,
Nick's,
you know?
Yeah, Nick's funny.
But for you to say it like that, for you to phrase it like that, is insane. Because imagine you're that girl at home who's now in school or living a normal life, and you're watching David throw Halloween parties and do all this wild shit, and the documentary you did is like now not coming out.
And truly for Casey to sit there and sing this high praise for David, while also recognizing that in his documentary he told the victim's story and wanting to gatekeep it, it's just, I just can't process it.
But I also feel responsibility to the victim, who I spoke with off the record and showed her the movie before a single person saw it, to get her blessing and understanding. And I think that she was very generous in letting me share her story, and I didn't follow through with that. So I'm extremely conflicted about it.
Jeff goes on to say that when it comes to people in the vlog squad like Jonah, aka Nick, he knows that they just don't think that they have anything else going for them other than just sitting around and waiting, hoping for some sort of David Dobrik career revival where they will be back to how things were, or at least close to it.
I mean, I still deeply care for Nick.
Yeah.
I wish him the best.
It's vice versa. I talked to him. I know it's vice versa. It's just such a...
I know they don't see themselves having any other route to success and not having to get a regular job than tagging along and hoping for some sort of resurgence in his career, and he's going to put them all back on. And I just don't see that happening.
And I don't see any sort of revival happening for the vlog squad. David seems done, and even Jason seems to have accepted that. In interviews he's done, he's talked about how David has turned down millions of dollars and that he's just living his life at the moment. He isn't working how he was before, and he's just fine. And I really don't see David ever going back to making another vlog. Maybe one day he'll do something, but YouTube, I think that he is absolutely done with the platform. And I think if David ever was going to have come back to his YouTube channel, it would have been to promote his pizza place or any project, but he just hasn't. He hasn't utilized his YouTube channel to promote any of the new things that he's been doing. So I think he's just leaving it all behind. And it's also just crazy to see that Jeff is out here making content regularly. He's leveling up in his career. He's employing multiple people, and David isn't. Yet people from the vlog squad are still so loyal to him. Jeff even said that he was paying people like Nick, and yet he chose to stick by David instead of Jeff, which is crazy. Like, he wouldn't need to be on TikTok live battling Jason if he had stuck by Jeff, making content together like they once were.
Did everything David did too. Yeah. I gave just as much money as David gave that family. Yeah. I gave the same. Beefy Boys, 1,000-pound family, $25,000 checks I was cutting them.
Yeah.
And that was out of love, because my sponsors were $25,000. I was giving them all the money, but I was so happy to make that content because I loved them. Those were my favorite videos. I go back 100%. And watch them.
Jeff was talking directly to the camera at one point, wanting to send a message to those in the vlog squad still standing by David, wanting them to get out of their current situation and start believing in themselves.
Believe in yourself. Do a tour. Do something. Don't just beg for money. Don't just dick ride and be in the background of Snapchats hoping that one day you're going to get a car. The car stopped coming. When the vlogs stopped, the car stopped. Have you seen a car given away yet? When's the last time you've seen a car given away?
Well, it's been a minute.
Jeff also said that he was going to be getting another surgery soon, and he was hoping that it was going to be the last, and mentioned how expensive it was going to be, which everyone in the comments is just sending him well wishes and also just saying that it's sad that he has to handle the cost of this, and really hope that sometime soon Jeff does get compensated for the accident.
I got surgery in 2 weeks. We are doing surgery the 21st, so that's why I'm trying to stack episodes. That's why I'm shooting today, no matter what. I don't care if we got nobody in here. No, but I got the surgery, and usually I spiral. Every time you see me go on Twitter rants, you see me go nuts, and I'm calling people out, I'm cursing. Yeah, and this time, I feel content that this is going to be my last surgery. I don't know what it is. This doctor, he's very expensive. He's he's the best in the biz. He's incredibly expensive, but he made me feel right at home, and it is close by the surgery, so I'll get to recover at home. They send you a nurse. It's like expensive as, but he feels confident that he could fix me.
The lawsuit is still ongoing between Jeff and David. The last update that was made public, we got to see how Natalie tried to say that Jeff was the one operating the excavator at the time of the accident, and how David and Natalie try to say that they compensated Jeff by giving him a platform, which is just ridiculous, like truly ridiculous, because Jeff got some fame from being in the Vlog Squad. That absolutely does not mean that he was a paid employee of David Dobrik LLC or that his accident doesn't deserve compensation. But hopefully Jeff does get justice for this whole situation. And I don't know, hopefully one day Casey can actually put the freaking documentary out. I mean, at this point, he has nothing to lose. Like I said, David is not even his friend anymore, and he's just tanking his own reputation by standing by David and gatekeeping it. But whatever he wants, I guess. I want to know what you guys think about all of this, though. Do you see Casey ever putting this out? And what do you think about what Jeff had to say about Casey and also about Nick? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I love you guys so much, and I will talk to you in the next video. Bye, guys.